Podomatic is a web-based tool that allows teachers and others to create podcasts and broadcast them online. The URL is www.podomatic.com. If you go to the extreme right, there are links for sign up for an account, login, and help. To sign up for an account, when you do that, you have the option to use the free version, or you can use the pro version, which costs money. So we will click the login link because we've created our accounts for this class, and we will proceed to type in our username and our password and log in. Podomatic works off of horizontal menus with options listed below them as you navigate over them. Home, podcasts. These podcasts are created and they're listed by subject category, arts, business, etc. Cities and events, podcast on cities. My podcast, which is the option we will be working off today to create a podcast. And Go Pro, which is the professional version. If we click on My Podcast, we'll see two options at the top, Post an Episode and Manage Podcast. We're going to create a podcast today, so we will click on Post an Episode. Again, we are brought to a horizontal menu that begins with title, description, audio, video, photo, continues along with tags, review, publish, and promote. Note above the promote, there is a notice there that says this episode is currently drafted. That means we're in draft mode, we're just beginning our episode. My episode says episode 4, that's because I have 3 other previous episodes already created in Podomatic. If you go down here, note that the title and description is in bright blue. That's the area that we're working on right now. So you click in the box and type in your title of your podcast. This podcast, we will do a segment on using Digication, and then we can click into the description box and write something about this particular podcast. Alright. This podcast will show how to use the e-portfolio system called Digication. You click on the bottom, save and continue, and you'll note that you receive a green bar up on top here that says updated title description. Also note that the audio video button is now blue because that's the area we're working in right now. We can select an audio or video clip by uploading a file, selecting from our media library, recording using a webcam or microphone, transfer from our desktop, or we can skip this step. For this purpose, we want to record a podcast, so we are going to use option 3, record using a webcam or microphone. This is the record screen. Notice there is a record button with a red dot. Once you press that, you will begin recording immediately. There is also an option next to that to record video. So if I check it off, that means that I will be recording the audio and the video via my webcam or a camera, a regular recording camera. I'm going to uncheck it for these purposes. If you look to the extreme right, there's a setting for mic settings, which you can click and look at your settings. I'm closing that now. Once you record, after you record it and approve it, then you click Use Recording. For right now, we will click Record. I receive a message saying Adobe Flash Player settings. They're asking for access to use my camera and microphone. I click Allow, and I'm connecting, and now I am recording. So this is my podcast for ePortfolio systems. This particular one is how to use Digication. I see my length is tracked here. I also see to the right my visual bar for my microphone. I will click Stop Recording. And now you see on the screen I have the option to preview, so I can listen to what I just taped, stop it. I could also record video from this point, or I can re-record if I did not like my recording. I'm going to say I'm satisfied with this, so I'm going to use my recording. I get the message up here in the gray bar, Save is complete. Now I click Save and Continue. The next option is Photo. This is the blue area here that we're working in. I can upload a photo. I can select from my media library within Podomatic. I can enter an image URLs from something I've searched for on the internet, or I can skip this step. I often do include an image, whether it's a photo or an image URL, into a podcast to make it a little bit more professional, as well as to have an image that relates to the topic at hand. I am choosing to enter an image URL, so I will click that link. And this box here is where I can either type it in. In my case, I selected an image regarding ePortfolios that demonstrates what I'm talking about, and I copied and pasted it in the URL into this box. Now I click Save and Continue. And the next screen is tags, and you'll see tags is in blue here. What you want to do here is type in tags for your episode to make it easier to search for. So I'll put in ePortfolio. Maybe I'll put Digication. Okay, some tags that make sense, that represent what your podcast is about. Now I click Save and Continue, and I see that I have an image uploaded, and this is the image that I put in. This is the actual picture of the image. I have my title, which is Using Digication. I have media attached. The media that's attached to this episode is the recording that I just did using my microphone. I have a description, and I have tags so I could search for this podcast. Now I click Save and Continue, and notice I'm on the Review Publish. At this point, my podcasting is being published. So my Digication, or my podcast called Using Digication, is being published. And when it is published, when it is completed, I could click the blue button now is on Promote to promote my podcast outside of the Podomatic area. So therefore, if I clicked Promote, if I clicked it now, it would not allow me to because it's not finished publishing yet. But when I click Promote, I can broadcast my podcast through social networking sites such as Facebook and MySpace. I could upload it to iTunes, subscribe to iTunes with it, and I could also send to an email distribution list. At this point in time, what we'll do is we'll go back to this field while it's publishing. This tag, this is my podcast, and we will look at Manage Podcast and go down to the Settings and Layout. And what that does, that is the area where you could change your title, you could change your tagline. The default in Podomatic is Give It a Listen, which is sufficient for me. And you could also change and put other categories or tags in here. For now, I will go back to my podcast, Manage Podcast, and look at my podcast page. Okay, this is where you will see your Digication, my Digication podcast. I see my icon here, which is ePortfolio. This URL, tzahor.podomatic.com, is the URL that I would copy and paste and link it either on my e-board, my course homepage. I could send this in an email, this link to my students, and that is how they would be able to give it a listen. And that concludes our lesson on podcasting using Podomatic.